Hey guys, it's Jenny, and today is Sunday, February the 7th. I can't even imagine where the first part of this month went. It does not seem possible that a week is already over. It's crazy. Um, I'm going to be posting this particular class also on my Facebook page. So if any of you guys who are not used to taking classes from me are going to be joining us today or watching the recording of this later, then the rundown of the way that I do class or my Kundalini classes, we kind of talk about something to chew on first, something to kind of contemplate. It doesn't have to necessarily be during your class today, like while you're in your practice. You can just go with the energy of the practice, and then later on, it could be something potentially that you come back to or revisit and kind of give yourself a moment to sit with. And I never give you guys these opportunities to talk in a way of making you think a certain way or forcing you to see things from my perspective. It's really just about opening up perspective and opening up an opportunity to see how you feel about different things. And today what I wanted to talk to you guys about is other people's opinions of us and how it makes us feel, and how we can remove ourselves from the attachment to that, because that can be a really major influence in how we interact with other people in our life experiences and our attachment to the way they perceive us and how we then show up in our lives. Are we showing up in our authentic way? Or are we showing up in a way that we think is conducive to what other people want? So we'll be talking a little bit about that to get started, and then we're going to move on for our exercise, which is I got to read it because it's a long one. Kundalini Yoga for body adjustment to elevate the spirit. And so the reason that I chose this particular Kriya to go with this topic was so that, when we're in these kinds of experiences, because a lot of times when people say things about us that can make us feel bad and make us not feel good about ourselves, then we know how to elevate our spirit. We have that tool in our toolbox that we can utilize to make ourselves feel better, to feel more lifted within our being. And I read a quote that said, "Worry about your character, not your reputation. Your character is who you are, and your reputation is what others think you are." And there's a distinct difference between those two things. A lot of times that we feel other people's negative opinions of us, especially their negative opinions of us, somehow takes away from our goodness or our value. And it often allows us or forces us to feel pain because we don't feel seen or understood or accepted in our humanity, right? So there's an important just to go through when these kinds of situations happen. If somebody's talking about us or somebody's saying ugly things about us, or they're telling a story about an experience that we had with them, and you're not included in that conversation, they're purely speaking out of turn behind your back, to other people about that situation, not in a way of seeking advice or venting, but actually looking to spread malicious information, right? Then there's some things that we should do, excuse me, sorry y'all, to kind of assess the situation, because it's true that if we are continually behaving in a way of meeting other people's expectations and things of that nature, that we're not being true to our own self, right? But there's also the responsibility component of ensuring that my behavior is not harmful, is not causing other people to have experiences that could be particularly challenging. So the way that I like to look through this particular experience, or to look through the eyes of this particular experience, if I believe that somebody else is judging me or telling stories about me or something of that nature, is to be self-aware first. First, I ask myself, do I believe this opinion to be true? Is this something that is in fact based on truth? Or is it completely fabricated and potentially fueled by their own anger, frustration, jealousy, fears, or whatever that might be, right? If the answer is the latter, and that it's not something that I feel that I contributed to, then it's not important to me. That means that's not my responsibility. That's not my situation, that's something that they need to deal with to fix. Can I have one of those conversations with them, those what we perceive, right, in a lot of ways to be the uncomfortable conversations, and say, hey, this is what I'm hearing, and I'm not okay with this, and I don't appreciate what's happening here. Please inform me as to why you're doing this and why you're saying these things. The best thing to do is to cut the head off the snake, right? Not to engage in all of these other conversations, which is just furthering the outreach of that experience and making it bigger than it was to begin with. So ask myself if I believe it to be true. If it is, that's when I need to look at my contribution to the situation. What's the reason for this opinion? Did I do something that could have been taken personally by this individual? Was my behavior a major contributor to this experience? Did I do something that made them feel disrespected or hurt or any of those kinds of things? And if I felt like I was a contributing factor in that situation, that's when I become humble and I have, again, that uncomfortable conversation that says, hey, I realized that I energetically contributed to a situation that was uncomfortable for both of us, that created a lot of pain and sadness on both ends here, and potentially grief. And I want to be responsible for my part that I played within this experience, and whether that includes an apology or whatever is necessary to then create that peace from our side, or meeting, that potential to meet in the middle. If the other individual is still no longer interested in creating that bridge of connectivity between ourselves and themselves, then we have to let it go. It's one of those live and let learn situations where not everything works out exactly the way we think it's going to or should, or how we want it to. Sometimes we make mistakes. We are all human, and we don't always react in the healthiest ways. A lot of it's fueled by our old programs, our social programs, our conditioning, old dogma, just all of this old stuff that's informing our current experience, trauma from the past. All of this stuff can lead us to react in ways that aren't necessarily the way we would want to respond, or that we think are maybe the most positive or healthy. But there are always opportunities to learn and to grow and expand. When I've had a situation that I'm not happy with, whether or not I can create that bridge of connectivity between myself and the other individual, I can still learn from the situation and not repeat those behaviors in the future. So, and then asking myself, if I was a contributing factor in this, but I was speaking my heart, I was speaking my truth, and potentially it doesn't involve an apology, then I can simply say, this is my truth. This is how this situation made me feel. And I cannot take that away just because, you're not happy with that outcome. This is how I feel. And if we're going to create a connectivity between the two of us, then, there needs to be words exchanged that make me feel more peace in my heart about letting the situation lie. And recognizing that irregardless of whether we ever get the apology from the other individual, by me holding on to it, I'm only poisoning myself. I'm only hurting myself by hanging on to that experience, right? They're probably already moving on. It may not even hold as much weight for them as it does for us. So for us to continue to hold on to it, we're keeping that energy of that thing alive. And not only alive, we're feeding it and allowing it to grow and expand. And what are the intentions of the person who's giving their opinion? And the only way that we can access that information, generally speaking, is by talking to them, because I can assume what I think they are doing, and I can have conversations with other people about that, which again is only making the situation bigger and more uncomfortable and more awkward. Or I can speak directly to that individual and ask them, what are your intentions for spreading this information? What are you trying to achieve here? Is it worth giving so much importance on this person and their opinion? Most of the time, I have found in my personal experience, I will hold on to what I think other people's opinions are of me that have no weight in my life experience. They don't even really, and I don't mean this in a negative way, they don't matter to my life experience. They're not a part of my daily life. They're not somebody who has a seat at my table. And it's the strangest thing how we will let other people's opinions who don't even have a seat at our table dictate our behavior, our experiences, or the way that we react, right? It's the most bizarre thing to me. And I think that's part of our conditioning that has taught us, we are here to serve other people. And so this is where it's really important to be empowered within our own being, to behave in a way that is true to ourselves, true to my authentic nature, true to my own heart. Does this person even know me? Like, are they a part of my experience, a part of the experience that created this opinion? So, like, if other people are judging me or telling stories about me, repeating a story that they had been told, do they even know me? Are they even a part of this situation when it was created? If the answer is no, who cares? The people who truly know and love me and know my authentic nature of being are going to know who I am. They're going to know my heart without having to have me validate it for them, right? And, if you've been in any of my classes before, we've talked about how we love the validation. We love the attaboy, because in our programming, in our attempt to be the good girl and the good boy, we've gained this, like, oh, you get your gold star for making somebody happy, or you made this person like you, or tell you that you could be a part of their life experience. This is like your little approval star that you get for being that person. And it's a really sick game that we play to get our own validation and approval, where that validation and approval should only ever come from within. That is the truest, most authentic approval and validation we can ever get, and it's the foundation for everything else that comes on top of it. When we have that foundation of our own self-love and self-worth, those things that come from outside of ourselves can't shake us. Our roots are so deep, grown into the earth, connecting us to this time and space. We know who we are. We appreciate and love all of the things about ourselves, whether they're strange or odd or whatever other people might consider them to be. So recognizing that validation that you're seeking, and just the pain that can come from other people's stories and the way that they choose to perceive us. It's so easy for me to sit here and say, don't let other people's opinions affect you. Don't let other people hurt you, because it's only going to take away from the fundamental aspects of your being. I can sit there and tell you not to let that happen, but until something happens within your own being that triggers, it shifts, and understands that other people's opinions truly don't matter, and the only thing that matters is the way that you perceive and feel about your own being, nothing will change. So the way that we create opportunities for that to happen, for that shift to occur, that magical moment where that perception changes, is to know ourselves better. The more that we know ourselves, the better we know ourselves, the more we love and appreciate who we are, the more we accept and allow ourselves to be in our most authentic nature. The more we allow ourselves to be in our most authentic nature, and the more we appreciate and value our own being, the less the stuff around us can permeate into that energetic space. We're creating a true barrier of protection around our being. A lot of times we try to create these barriers in our heart, these hard walls that we create so people can't get in and access our vulnerability and hurt us anymore. But the true barrier of protection comes from the authentic expression, that heart resonance, that vibration of our own being, that energetic vibration that says to the energy around us, that doesn't belong in this space. That energy is not welcome within my experience. That has to stay outside of me. I get to choose what belongs within this space, and that is not in alignment with my vibration, so you can keep that. the more and more the vibration emits and speaks for us, because the vibration uses words that, when we come into that heart resonance of another individual, the heart resonance uses words that we can't even speak. When we feel other people's vibration before we even speak to them or engage with them, that is us feeling into their heart resonance. So that heart resonance is communicating all of these beautiful things to the people around us, letting them know where our limitations are. And sometimes, people are going to be angry and upset that we're allowing ourselves to evolve and expand into different places because they're afraid to go there themselves. And that sometimes creates an opportunity for them to have conversations about us that don't put us in the brightest light to other people, because they don't want people to see us that way. Because if I'm stepping into that space, that's an invitation for them to step into that space, because they're afraid to do it. They don't want other people to see it. So remembering what's motivating people is a huge, huge, huge contributor to being able to let go of other people's stuff. When I can understand that their motivation is out of fear, is out of, that fear of evolution, it's out of that jealousy or anger at themselves for not wanting to step into that place too, it's so much easier for me to let go and not take it personally. I realize in that moment that it's not about me at all. It's just about where they're at, and that it's okay. It's okay. Don't have to even judge where they're at or what they're going through, recognizing that they're only lashing out that way because they're in pain and because they're in fear. And then I can tap into my own compassion and empathy, recognizing that, they're talking from a place of pain. I can choose to have an uncomfortable conversation with them, uncomfortable, which it really shouldn't be uncomfortable. It's just life, right? I can choose to have those conversations with them, or I can just choose to stay in my own lane and continue to do my own thing and emit from my own heart space, right? I don't have to judge them. I don't have to label them. I can let them be where they are doing what they're doing, and I can stay where I am doing what I'm doing. I don't have to keep people in my life experience to love them and appreciate their humanity, right? I can love them from a distance, and that's where my safe boundaries are. Then I'm choosing what people get a seat at my table. I'm choosing what people get to be a part of my life experience. So today during our practice, I really want us to be thinking about that stuff. The world doesn't revolve around other people's opinions of me. If that's what my mind is constantly focusing on, then I'm drawing my attention away from the things that are going to give me life, that are actually going to support and uplift me. So shifting my attention into those things is what's going to uplift me and draw me away from all that drama and draw me away from all of that stuff that's not serving me anymore. Okay? So just thinking about those situations in our life where potentially I'm giving too much energy, too much of my attention, where I'm constantly asking myself what other people's perceptions of me are, and if they are validating me or, validating my worth or giving me that uplifting feeling. No, I want to find that uplifting feeling within myself. And that's why we're putting this tool of this Kriya in our toolbox, because now I know how to uplift myself. I can use this Kriya to engage in that movement that will take me towards that energetic space, as opposed to getting it from other people, as opposed to getting, attaching myself to other people's opinions and making that be the truth of who and what I am. Instead, no, I want to come back to myself and source those things from within. So paying attention to that today. Where am I a little too attached? Like, what are those thoughts that I have sometimes where I recognize that I care too much about what other people think about me? Are there any situations, experiences that I am having right now in my life where, potentially people are saying mean things about me, or saying things about me that hurt me or make me not feel good about myself? How can I interact with those individuals, or how can I energetically express myself in a way that allows those things to no longer have that penetration of coming into my own energetic environment, right? Thinking about that stuff today. Again, we're never thinking about this stuff for shame or guilt or any of that stuff. It's an opportunity to look at something so that I can create positive change and experience what I do want. Okay? So That's all we're doing. We're looking at healthier ways to engage. Nothing changes if nothing changes. If I keep engaging in relationships the way that I always have and it isn't serving me, I've got to do something different. I've got to create change within that space from which I operate to achieve a new result. So that's what we're looking to do today. And we're going to go ahead and get started. If you've never been in a Kundalini, the way that we get started, sorry, I'm going to stretch my leg out for a sec. By tuning in. When we tune in, we use that mantra, Om Namo Gurudev Namo, 3 times. And that really just draws us back into our own being, draws our attention away from all of the exterior and takes our attention back inside of our own being, connecting us to that most beautiful soul space, sense of our own being, authentic sense of our own being. So we're going to use that mantra to connect to those higher aspects of our being, that soul space. And we're also, when we're doing that, we're not just connecting to ourselves. We're coming together as a sangha and community. When we're all here together doing this class together, all of that energy is being shared. That's a community, that connectedness, that shared experience that we're engaging in and uplifting and supporting each other in our practices. So remember that, when we're in our practice, that's what we're here doing. We're supporting and uplifting each other. We're in that shared energy of this class experience, and what a beautiful, amazing opportunity that really, truly is. So we're going to start by grounding into our easy seated posture, which is just that comfortable cross-legged posture. Closing the eyes and finding your breath. Drop the shoulders back and down. Feeling those sits bones rooting you and grounding you into the earth. Visualizing from all of those points of contact, those beautiful roots growing out from the body and anchoring you into this time and space. Creating a nice long center line of the body by gently tucking the chin ever so slightly back and down so that the head is hovering over the heart. Heart is hovering over those sits bones that are anchoring us into this beautiful earth. And just feeling into that energy for a moment as you continue to breathe, not so much creating those deep, deep breaths, but just an equal length of inhalation to exhalation. Allowing the belly to rise up away from the body on the inhale and drawing the navel back towards the spine on the exhalation, working to fully expel all of that stagnant air that could potentially be residing in the bottom of those lower lungs, those lower lobes of your lung. Sinking into your own being. Greeting your own spirit. Trusting in yourself to do whatever healing work is necessary for you to achieve today. Recognizing the miraculous beauty of the spirit in harmony with the body and all of the things that they can achieve when we give ourselves this time and space for evolution and expansion, healing and reception. Take a couple more deep breaths here. In through the nose and out through the mouth this time. And then on your next inhalation, draw those hands into upward in front of the heart space. We're going to start to rub the palms of the hands together, creating that friction and heat. Creating our pranic and aponic bodies. Tuck the thumbs into the breastbone, hands in prayer pose. Forearms are parallel to the earth. Inhale deeply. Exhale completely. And then inhaling to begin. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Inhale deeply, suspending the breath, feeling that heart rising up to meet that prayer hand. Exhale, release the breath, release the hands. If you want to create that safe space on your mat by reciting the Mangala charm 3 times, you can feel free to do so. Ad Gure Name, Jugat Gure Name, Sat Gure Name, Siddhi Guru Deve Name. If not, go ahead and just place the palms of the hands on the knees and just take a couple more deep breaths, continuing to sink into your own being, sink into your body. Gently opening those eyes whenever you're ready. So it's funny, this is the body adjustment to elevate the spirit. And I heard somebody refer to it one time as like Prozac for yoga. So it really helps to like elevate and uplift from within your own being. And we don't need that stuff from outside of ourselves to uplift us and support us. We can source it from within ourselves. We can resource all of those feelings within our own being, all of those chemical changes, all of those things that we should seek to adjust. We can do so much of that from within our own being. I'm not, of course, dispelling people's need for medications and things of that nature. You know, we all have our own stuff that is right for us, and that's totally okay. But I'm just saying there's things that we can do from within ourselves that really help to support and uplift. And this is an awesome tool that we can use. So the whole body structure is responsible for one's elevation, for one's beingness. A car has its gas, it has transmission, and it starts. If one part is missing or if just a little air does not get to the gas, it dies. It's the same thing with the body. So this set of exercises is created to be that, to give us that fuel that we need to lift ourselves, to lift our spirit. And it's a really beautiful practice, and it's actually pretty physical. So be prepared to do a lot of moving today on your mat. The first one that we're going to be doing is going to take us down onto our backs. So I'll kind of demonstrate it for you guys first, and then I'll tell you to come into posture, and we'll get started. So we're going to come down onto our back, just like so. And you're going to clasp your hands and take them just behind your neck. Allow the elbows to fall to the side walls. Now, if you're on your first 3 days of your moon cycle, you might want to support your lower spine, placing the hands underneath those glutes. Or if you have any contraindications for your lower spine, or you have any kind of like tension or pain or pressure, or you find that your lower spine is not meeting the earth, where you can't press that lower spine firmly into the ground beneath you, you want to support that lower spine by placing those hands underneath. On our inhalation, we're going to draw both legs into the sky at a 90-degree angle. And then we're going to exhale, drop those heels towards the earth. Inhale, lift the legs back up. Exhale down, inhale. So if this is really uncomfortable for you, you can actually alternate your legs, do one at a time. Actually, sorry, keep one leg down in the earth, and alternate, just like this. Or if you need to keep a bend in your knees, if that feels better, you can bend those knees. If it's still too much and you have too much pain or compromised lower spine, to visualize yourself in the posture. So let's go ahead and come into posture. Take whatever version of that posture feels best to you, whether it be the hands behind the neck, behind the head, not applying pressure ever onto that neck, just gently resting on that occipital bone area. We're keeping those hands under the glutes. We're going to inhale, take those legs up into the sky, exhale down, inhale up, exhale down. So go ahead and get started. Remembering to do what you need to do. Be playful with your postures. We're going to be here for 2 minutes. Be playful with your postures. You know, if you're trying something and you're finding that it's really uncomfortable, that it's compromising your body in any way, utilize one of those modifications that we just talked about. And it's really important in this posture to engage the muscles of the legs, of the thighs, and bring a lot of energy to the breath so that you're activating that third chakra, which is our commitment to ourself, your ability to see things through. You're already nearly a minute in. We want to challenge ourselves without hurting ourselves. So never pressing into pain or tingling or numbness, but challenging ourselves, pushing ourselves out of our comfort zone, making sure that we're not just taking the easy way out, right? Remember to listen to the body and not to the mind. The body knows how far it can go. Stay strong. Really utilize that breath to fuel the posture. Nice, strong breath. For this last 30 seconds, give it your all. Really put all of your energy into it. If you start to shake, that's okay. That's just your nervous system readjusting. Could also be adjusting our glandular, digestive, and cardiovascular system, but we're specifically focusing on the nervous system in this posture. Next, inhalation with those feet up in the sky, legs are long. Inhale deeply. Suspending your breath, we're going to apply our root lock or mula band, drawing up, lifting up through the pelvic floor, drawing those sexual organs up towards the diaphragm. Only if you're not on your moon cycle, you don't have any untreated blood pressure issues or anything of that nature. Exhale, slowly and gently, using your core strength, releasing those legs all the way down into the earth, nice and slow with grace and ease. Take those hands out from behind your head or from underneath those glutes. You can tap out your belly for a moment if you need to. You can rest your hands on your belly and close your eyes for a moment, or gently rest the palms of the hands into the earth at the side of the body. And just take those deep breaths. On your next inhalation, draw the knees into the chest and wrap the hands around the front of the shin bones. You can gently rock side to side here for a moment, and then we're going to rock back and forth until we draw ourselves upright into a comfortable seated posture so that we can come into our next exercise. So for our next exercise, this one is like probably the most intense of our practice today. So I will just warn you of that. And we're going to be here for 2 minutes. So we're going to come up onto our hands and knees. And then we're going to curl our toes under, press our hips into the sky for our down dog. Now, I particularly have to walk my feet back a little bit more than I traditionally do so that I can really get the full experience of this posture. We're going to inhale as we come down. We're going to come into that cobra posture or upward facing dog. Exhale up. Press the glutes back into the sky in that downward facing dog posture. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. So go ahead and draw yourself into that downward facing dog posture if that's within your practice. And go ahead and begin. If that's not within your practice, visualizing yourself doing these exercises. I actually really like this one, but just see what's comfortable as you move your body. Using that powerful breath, that you should hear it as you inhale and exhale. And go at your own pace. Everybody's going to be different. Inhaling into that upward facing dog or cobra. Exhaling into your downward dog. Remembering there's no rush. Using that pace that feels the most comfortable and safe to you. Keeping the arms and legs straight if you can, but modifying in whatever way is necessary for you to feel comfortable and safe in this posture. You only have about 30 seconds left here. So keep strong for this last 30 seconds. On your next exhalation, keep those hips up in the sky in that downward facing dog posture. Inhale deeply. Suspend the breath at the top for a moment. Exhale. Drop the knees towards the edge of the mat if you want to take that peaceful warrior posture. Pressing the glutes back towards the heels, stretching the arms out long in front of you. Or you can come into that child's pose, keeping knees together, pressing the glutes back towards the heels, stretching the arms out in front of you. And come back into your body. Draw your attention back inside. Surrendering to this humble resting posture for a moment. To feel into the energetic quality of your own being. Feeling the connection between that third eye and the earth. That place of intuition, connected to the Mother Earth beneath you. Then on your inhalation, draw the third eye away from the earth, come back up onto the hands and knees, dropping the glutes down into the earth, swing the legs around in front of you. So we're going to come into a life nerve stretch. So those legs are going to be straight out in front of us. And place your hands either below the knees if you can, on the shin bones somewhere. But if you can reach your toes, then go ahead and reach for your toes. You can even take those peace fingers, wrap them around the two big toes, placing the thumbs and the fingers. We're going to inhale up, exhale down, inhale up, exhale down. So go ahead and come into the version of posture that feels the most comfortable for you. If you need to bend your knees here, you can. Inhaling up, exhaling down. Nice, strong breath. Again, we're going to be here for 2 minutes. Matching the breath with the movement. Really pulling the flesh away from the sits bones if you need to, so that you're really connected to that earth beneath you. We're working our lower back and our sciatic nerve. And that sciatic nerve is very close to the surface of the skin, and it runs down the back side of your legs. So it can be really sensitive when we don't give it the movement that it needs and release the tension from the muscles that squeeze that nerve sometimes. So inhaling up, exhaling down. Surrendering the heart to the thighs on the exhalation. You're already about halfway through here. Always matching the breath with the movement. Allow the breath to be what pushes you through. Just about 15 seconds. On your next inhalation, keep that heart lifted, eyes closed. Inhale deeply. Still holding on to the toes, applying the root lock that's within your practice today. Exhale, release the breath, release the lock, drawing the palms of the hands back up towards the hip crease of the thighs. Release those hands into the earth for a moment. Close your eyes and just take a moment to come back to yourself, come back into your own being, finding your natural breath. Gently opening up those eyes whenever you're ready. We're going to come into our next posture, which takes us into our rock pose posture. So we're going to come up on our hands and knees, keeping the tops of the feet gently resting into the earth. We're going to release the glutes back down onto those heels, palms of the hands gently resting on the thighs for a moment. Now, if you can't come into this posture, if this doesn't feel good to you, if you're not used to Kundalini practice, then you can come into your easy seated posture for this. So do whatever it is that you need to allow this to be a safe and comfortable practice, okay? So our next exercise, we're going to interlock our fingers, take our hands just behind the head. We're going to inhale, twist to the left, exhale, twist to the right, closing the eyes and drawing our attention, our awareness to that brow point center, that third eye space. Inhale to the left, exhale to the right. So go ahead and get started. We're going to be here for 2 more minutes. Matching the breath with the movement. Keeping your attention at that brow point, place of intuition, the voice of your own soul. Gently drawing those eyes upward in that gentle pull. Inhale back to center. Take a moment. Suspending the breath at the top. Apply your root lock if it's within your practice today. Exhale. Release the lock. Release the breath. Release the hands. Gently allowing the hands to rest on the top of the thighs or coming into that easy seated posture if you need to. Come back into your own body. And be aware of your own energetic field and how that feels. Witnessing and observing, not becoming attached. On your next inhalation, opening those eyes and dropping the palms of the hands in front of the knees so that you can come into your tabletop position. We're going to come into our cat-cow postures here. So making sure that your shoulders are stacked on top of the wrists, hips on top of the knees, tops of the feet are gently resting into the earth. Crown of the head shining towards the wall in front of you. Gaze is between the hands. Nice long center line of the body from the tip of the tailbone to the crown of the head. On the inhalation, we're going to open our heart and lift the chin, dropping the belly towards the earth and lifting the tailbone. We're going to exhale, round through the spine, tuck the tailbone, take the chin to the chest for your cat posture. Inhale into your cow. Exhale into your cat. And just continuing on with that movement. Going to be here for 2 more minutes. Find your full range of motion with the breath, by the synchronization of the movement. allowing this to become a meditative movement where you're deeply present. As we engage in this wave of movement, allow it to open your heart, your throat, your third eye, navel point center, the back of the heart, feeling into the beauty of this wave of motion as it begins at the tip of the tailbone and works its way to the crown of the head and then back again on the inhalation and the exhalation. Moving all of that cerebrospinal fluid up and down the spine, nourishing all of those places that it needs it. Remembering our spine is one of the only places that doesn't have its own pump to move that cerebrospinal fluid. So it's up to us to engage in the movements necessary to move that fluid into those different parts of the spine. You only have about 15 seconds left here. So really give it your all. Feel deeply connected to your own being through this movement and breath. Come back to that tabletop posture, that neutral tabletop posture. Inhale deeply. Suspending your breath, apply your root lock. Feel that energy inside of your own being. Squeeze that energy up that spinal column. Exhale. Drop yourself down into that child's pose or peaceful warrior posture. Surrender to that humble posture. Breathing long and deep into your back body. Keeping those eyes closed, connected to the earth beneath you and everything around you. Having no other job other than to breathe, to be, and observe. To be the watcher. Pressing into the palms of the hands, drawing that third eye away from the earth, moving through your tabletop posture into your back, into your rock pose. So dropping those glutes down onto those heels. Remembering you can come into that easy seated posture if you need to here, that cross-legged posture if that feels more comfortable and safe. And we're just going to begin to roll our head, roll our neck, beginning on whatever side feels most comfortable and safe. Inhale deeply. Exhale, drop the chin to the chest. And releasing either your left or right ear to the shoulder. Drawing the crown of the head to the back wall. Opposite ear to opposite shoulder. Swinging the head around the front side of the body. Taking it nice and slow. Never pressing into pain, tingling, or numbness. Remembering to be very gentle with the neck. Always gentle, slow movements with the neck. Pausing and breathing into any of those places where you're potentially holding on to any tension, resistance. remembering there is no rush. Focusing our attention on those energies so that we can neutralize them into our energetic being, into our central nervous system. Remembering how powerful the attention is. Just by focusing my attention on the thing, I can neutralize, transmute that energy, turning it into something more life-affirming. Inhaling from the front to the back. Exhaling from the back to the front. The next time you find your chin towards the chest, draw your rotation in the opposite direction. Nice and slow. Always matching the breath with movement. One more rotation, and then the next time you find your chin towards the front, inhale, lift the gaze back towards the front of the room, but keeping the eyes closed, palms of the hands still gently resting on the top of the thigh. Inhale deeply. Suspend the breath, apply your Mula Bandha root lock, lifting up through the pelvic floor. Exhale, release the breath, release the lock, gently opening up those eyes whenever you're ready. So for this next posture, we're going to stay in this rock pose, but if that's not comfortable for you, then you can go ahead and lengthen through your legs for a moment, kick them out, come back into rock pose, or come into that easy seated posture. So just listen to your body. This one's actually really beautiful. So we're going to take our left hand just in front of our belly, and we're going to lift up through our right arm, drawing it over our head, and we're going to lean to the left on our inhalation. On our exhalation, we're going to switch arms. Take the right hand in front of the belly, lift the left arm over the head, and leaning to the right. Inhale to the left. Exhale to the right. Closing the eyes, drawing the attention, the awareness in and up towards the brow point center. Go ahead and begin. 2 minutes. We're working on our liver, spleen, and digestive organs in this posture. It's really beautiful, so let it become meditative for you. Feel into the grace of this movement. Really stretching through those arms as you're reaching over your head. It's great for your colon, for eliminating gas. Just hinging from side to side at that waist point center. You only have about 30 seconds left. On your next exhalation, we're going to inhale, draw ourselves back up to center, releasing the hands to the top of the thigh. Inhale deeply. Suspend the breath, apply your root lock, squeeze the energy inside and upward along that spinal column, feeling the energy of that exercise into your body. Allow it to transform, to transmute. Exhale, release the breath, release the lock. We've got one more posture in rock pose. So again, if you need to go ahead and kick out your legs at this time, this is the time. Lengthen your legs out in front of you. Kick them out for a second. You can shift your knees from side to side, and then draw yourself back into either rock pose or your easy seated posture. This next posture I really like this one. So we're going to stay in our rock pose posture. We're going to be reaching forward with our arms. So we're going to start by reaching our right hand forward. So take your elbows, and gently rest them at the ribs at the side of the body. And take your hands inward. We're going to inhale, reach out through our right hand, sa, ta, na, ma. So using that mantra, I am truth, truth is my name, truth is my identity. That's what Satanama means. We're connecting to those higher aspects of our being, opening up that channel for communication and that availability for the connection to whatever higher source is yours to connect to. Satanama, reaching out and taking what is ours to receive. Whatever it is that you want, whatever it is that's your desire of your heart right now, visualizing yourself taking that energy and drawing it back into your energetic being, okay? Again, we're going to be here for this one. Actually, we're going to be here for 5 minutes. So if you can maintain that rock pose for 5 minutes, then go ahead and engage in that posture. Otherwise, come into your easy seated posture. Take those elbows to the side of the body. Close the eyes. Draw your awareness inward and upward. And beginning. Sa, ta, na, ma. 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 Continue on your own, reciting that mantra. Satanama. Reaching out, taking what you need and pulling it back in. Make it a little bit more rapid if you can. Nice and fluid movement here. Shoulders and trunk are moving slightly in a turning motion. Visualizing yourself drawing in energetically all of those things that the heart desires, all of those things that are yours to receive, remembering there are no limitations than the ones that we impose on ourselves. So releasing our limitations and opening up to all possibility as we reach for those desires of the heart. We only have one more exercise after this one before we come into our final Shavasana posture. You're already nearly 2 minutes through. And don't waste 1 second of this 5 minutes by not really reaching for what you want, really reaching for the beautiful desires of your own heart, the dreams that you have created within your own being, all of those seeds that you have buried in the earth, that you have nurtured, and now that it's spring, the buds are starting to come up and break the soil. They've totally cracked open from that seed. And those beautiful plants, that new life is reaching over the soil. It's created all of the energy and stamina that it needs to pop up over that soil and reach to the sunshine. So nurturing that energy, giving ourselves the availability to experience those things in our real waking life, manifesting and co-creating our reality by stepping into that role of co-creator, refining our energetic vibration to be the magnet of what we want to receive more of, using our daily practice, using our mantras, using our breath to refine our energetic vibration so that it can be that crystal clear quality of energy that we want to allow to be the magnet for what we want to receive more of, feeding the energy we want to receive more of. Which wolf am I feeding? Play with the pace, play with the movement, finding that place that feels that perfect, magical, sweet spot within the movement, within the breath, where it feels meditative. You only have about a minute left. So really put your energy and your heart into this last bit of this exercise so that you can really draw back into your energetic being all of the beauty of what you're giving so that you can get all of that energy back, that energetic investment. Remembering that you're worth it. You're worth that investment. You don't need anybody else to affirm or validate that worth and value. You're worthy now, and you always have been. You just had to see it. You just had to become aware of it and treat yourself as if it were so. Take both elbows back into the side body. Inhale deeply. Suspending the breath, apply your root lock. Exhale, release the lock, release the breath, release the hands. Come down onto those hands and knees and tap out the tops of those feet. Bring some blood flow back into those lower limbs. We've been sitting in that rock pose for a really long time. You can curl those toes and press your glutes back towards your heels. Stretch. And then come down into your comfortable seated posture whenever you're ready. This is our last posture before we come into our final Shavasana. It's our Sufi grind. So sitting in your easy pose with your hands gently resting on your knees, we're going to begin to rotate that upper body around our sits bones. So we're going to inhale deeply, exhale hinging forward, beginning to take that rotation to whatever side feels most comfortable and safe. Keeping the crown of the head level to the sky, the chin level to the earth. And rotating that upper body around those sits bones, around that part of our body that is anchored into the earth beneath us. Matching our breath with the movement, inhaling from the front to the back and exhaling from the back to the front. Going to be here for 1.5 minutes on this side. Allow yourself to get lost in the movement by matching the breath to the motion of the body. This posture is amazing for unwinding all of that stuff from our life experiences that feels yucky or sticky. Peeling away all of those layers of the stuff that's not serving. Just a few more seconds. Next time you find yourself towards the front of that rotation, draw it in the opposite direction. Eyes are closed, focused on the brow point center, that third eye space. Moving as fast or as slow as the body wants you to move. Leading with the heart. One more rotation and then come back into your neutral, easy seated posture. Long through the spine, keeping the eyes closed. Inhale deeply. Suspend the breath, apply your root lock. Exhale completely. Release the breath, release the lock. And then come down onto your back for your final Shavasana posture, that corpse pose posture, resting the entirety of your being into the earth. Legs are out long in front of you. Arms can be to the side of the body. Palms of the hands face down into the earth to ground, their palms face up to receive. Allow the feet to fall to the side, gently resting the tongue in the roof of the mouth or allowing it to fall away. Sinking into your breath, that rhythmic inhalation and exhalation that is natural to you. Allowing for the parasympathetic nervous system to take over so that the body can come back to its homeostasis. Your breath is naturally slowing, the blood pressure lowers. All of your cells doing exactly what needs to be done at exactly the right time without any input from you. Just being. Allowing your body to drop into a sweet stillness and take the journey back within your own being through the breath. Experiencing fully the effects of this Kriya. You can even cocoon the energy within your own being by covering yourself up with a blanket. And to end this practice, just be open to receive anything that's meant for you right now, in this moment. And be willing to see yourself as complete, happy, healthy, and whole, connecting to, focusing your attention on the truth, the truest aspects of your being. That you are happy, that you are healthy, that you are whole, complete. Availability for happiness to occur. Just be aware of the contact points from the body to the floor and surrender to them. And then connect to your own inner light, sensing your own inner radiance, and allow it to expand, to take up space, to express itself in whatever way is most natural, without resisting, without contracting away, without trying to make yourself small. Visualizing the light of your being radiating from within, 1,000,000 points of light shining in every direction. What you think of yourself is a lot more important than what other people think of you. And sometimes the unhappiest people in this world are those who care the most about what other people think. Due to our need to belong, sometimes we allow ourselves to feel hurt over what other people have to say about us. But remembering that my life isn't mine if I'm always caring what other people think. And it's easier to let go of someone's opinion when you understand that people see you through a combination of their past conditionings plus their current emotion. Without realizing it, they see themselves first, and through that lens, they can get an unclear picture of you. Just remembering not to focus on the few people who don't see the truth of your being, who don't know how to connect to you on that level. Remember that your impact on other people is bigger than you think. Someone still giggles when they think of that funny thing you said. Someone still smiles when they think of the compliment you gave them. Someone silently admires you. The advice you give has made a difference for people. The support and love you've offered others has made someone's day. Your input and opinions have made someone think twice. You're not insignificant and forgotten. Your existence makes a positive difference whether you see it or not. Focus on the good. Focus on the people who do see you, who do love you, who do appreciate you. Remove your attention away Don't feed the things that you don't want to experience more of. Feed the things you want to experience more of in this world by focusing your attention on those things, on those people, on those situations. Slowly and gently start coming back into the body by wiggling the fingers back into your own being. Focus on the breath, the inhalation and the exhalation, and the movement of the body in response to the breath. And take it a little bit deeper. Inhaling through the nose now, exhaling through the mouth. Letting go of all of the stuff that's not yours, all of the stuff that is not meant for you to focus on. Only focusing your energy on the things that are meant to draw you towards your highest and greatest good. Wrapping the hands around the wrists now, potentially the feet around the ankles. Taking whatever gentle stretches might be necessary. Full body stretch, reaching the fingers over the head, pointing the toes in the opposite direction. Taking any gentle cat stretches, drawing one knee across the body and then the other. And then drawing the knees into the chest whenever you're ready. Wrapping the hands around the front of the shin bones. Rocking and rolling yourself upright into a comfortable seated posture so that we can feel the energy of this Kriya into our being. With that Satnam mantra, I am truth, truth is my name, truth is my identity. I'm going to use that mantra 3 times to finish up our class today. So drawing those hands into prayer pose, tucking the thumbs into the heart space. Inhale deeply. Exhale completely. Inhale to begin. Satnam. 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 Namaste. And remembering as we finish our class today, just as we don't like to be judged, just as we don't like those stories to be told about us, remembering to also be aware of how we are engaging in the stories that we tell and the ways that we perceive the other people in our lives. Remembering to be curious and not judgmental, to treat other people in the way that we wish to be treated ourselves, and to not be the people who are spreading the maliciousness, who are putting that cancerous, insidious energy out there into the world for others to experience and to be felt. So just remember to also be aware of our own behavior. Remember how we're engaging with the people around us. What is the quality of the energy that I'm projecting? You know, what am I contributing to? What is my motivation? Remembering that in the situations with other people as they refer to us. What are other people's motivations? Where are they coming from? If I don't know, talk to them, ask, find out. If it's not something that is a place where I can meet them in the middle, then I must release it. I must let it go and no longer choose to focus my attention on the things that are no longer serving me, but focus my attention on the energies that I want to experience more of. Who does appreciate me? Who does love me? Who does see me? Who does value me? Who is there to have that seat at my table, right? So I love you guys a lot. Thank you for joining me today. If you've never had a Kundalini class before and this is your first experience, thank you for joining us. And I hope that you had an awesome experience with this today. It's one of my favorite forms of yoga. I love it so much and I just love sharing it. So I look forward to seeing y'all next time. Bye.